Bonnet family, what's going on? Mike Lindsley back with you for an ML Sports Take brought to you by Welch & Company Jewelers and Camillus Golf Club. I've had a terrible week with the throat, so bear with me here as I get through a recap, which I'm so excited to deliver to you because I got to tell you, I mean, right out of the gate, the first couple of things, this was a big stage college basketball game. You had a pedigree program in Providence historically. Great brand, awesome fan base, Basketball Hall of Fame, the court, the Bonnies, the whole thing. A lot of people in attendance. This is a huge deal to be a part of. And for the Bonnies to go out there and have the second half just grit showing that they had and pull out a win here is tremendous. You know, two basketball schools, no Power 5, no football. You know, they know who they are, and just let's roll the ball out, baby. And folks, I mean, the Bonnies are 10-1. I mean, what is happening? You know, I know that they're not playing, you know, Duke, North Carolina, you know, Gonzaga and Kansas, and they're 10-1. I mean, I don't know. There's programs losing left and right in college basketball. I mean, any night you can lose to anybody. We've seen that happen with lower echelon programs beating Power 5s. We've seen it with the NIL portal. We've seen a lot of balance and whatnot with talent. I mean, they're 10-1, and they could have beaten Utah State. This team easily could be undefeated right now, but you know how sports work. If you beat Utah State, maybe you fall with somebody else. You play the numbers game. I know one thing, they're 10-1. What I didn't like right out of the chute, I'll just get it over with, because mostly I want to talk about the second half, the starting lineup, in the last couple of minutes of play. Yeah, the free throw shooting has just got to stop. This bad free throw shooting. I mean, they went 20 of 28 from the foul line. I mean, they've got to be better than that for sure. The three-point shooting, again, they went 4 of 14 here. And it seems like when they get into a rut of missing, they just can't hit one. And when they can get one, they seem to kind of turn mentally. But this was the former in this case, in this game. And it was just a brutal showing from three and from the free throw line. I didn't like that at all. But what I really liked and loved, you could put it in both those categories. I mean, let's start with the big-time effort, really, from start to finish in this game. I like the fact that they only turned it over 7 times in this game. They out-rebounded Providence by a 7-rebound margin, which was fantastic. The Bonnies' defense, when they needed some holds, it was terrific. Again, they fought through this thing. They had a 4-point lead, or excuse me, a 9-point lead at the half. And then now I want to transition to the second half, which was a point where the first 8 or 9 minutes, and Providence started kind of clawing and climbing and getting some better possessions. And all I could say to myself was, the starting 5 is going to have to win this game, you know. And they didn't get a lot out of Hinton. He is in there. He is a spark plug. He did have 4 assists. He had a key steal. But, like, you know, Hinton, you know, he's one of those guys who once in a blue, he'll kind of ruin an offensive possession where he just kind of gets going and, like, he just wants to take the ball and take over. And he's got to stop doing that. He's got to pass the ball to Council. He's got to give it into Brown. Speaking of Brown, I mean, you know, what can Noel Brown do for you? A lot. And a lot of offensive possessions. I like the Bonnies just dribbling up the court going, all right, where's the big fella? You know, how deep is he? Throw it in there. Because his moves and the footwork, the basketball IQ, the balance, the hands, the understanding, the drawing of the double team, his ability to get fouls, he's really become a complete player for this team. He really has been. And he's just been so good at finishing around the rim this year compared to last year even. He goes 6 for 11. He pulls down 8 boards. He had the block. I mean, this kid he's a major force in there. And I think he's going to be a force all year in the A-10. Meanwhile, you get 16 from him. You get 15 from Jones, who reminds me a little bit of the Iron Men 5 2.0 of a Holmes or a Welch. He's completely fearless on both ends of the floor. He's like, give me the ball, I'll take the shot. Defensively, put me on their best player. Let's do switch-ups. Put me out on the wing. No problem. This kid is just ready to go at all times. And he scored 15 huge points in this basketball game. Moore gave you 10. He comes down a little bit, which leads me to Council Jr. This is why Schmidt and his staff brought this guy in, because you can see he has that big game edge to him. He made so many big buckets in the second half, getting in the lane, pulling up. He made 2 huge three-pointers. I mean, the Bonnies only made 4 threes, but 2 were by Council, and they were enormous at the time. And I was impressed with the starting 5. They were fantastic in this basketball game. Now, as I want to wrap with a couple of thoughts here on the last few minutes of the game. It was a fury. So the Bonnies are up 44-32, 46-38, and then it starts to chip away here, 48-43, 50-40. And it was about at that point, I don't know what I said earlier, maybe 8, 9, 10 minutes into the second half. I think I said that. It was right around that 50-44, 50-47. Pierre made that 3, and then there was the TV timeout, and I said, oh boy, starting 5 is just going to have to go will themselves to victory. Brown had a great layup. Hinton makes a 3. That was a great job by him. And then they just kind of go back and forth. But Council Jr., again, made layup at 8:55. A huge jumper by Jones. Brown made jumper. It was that trio, it seemed like over and over and over again here. But the Bonnies, they went scoreless here. I'm trying to find the point there where they had Brown made the jumper at 7:19. And then you go all the way down here. Providence making a huge run. And Bonnies are up 8 at 61-53. And then you go down the line here. Council Jr. makes a layup, 65-59. And you knew it was going to be a tough game because the Friars kept coming. Cardette Jr. with a 3. And then at the end of the game, Brown makes 2 huge free throws. The Bonnies made a lot of big clutch plays in this game. Brown threw it away late, and I said, oh boy, what in the world's going to happen here, right? And Providence comes down, and it seemed like in the last 3 or 4 minutes of this game, the Bonnies, it was maybe like at 3 or 4 points. Can they get that one bucket? They didn't. Bonnie defensive stand. Bonnie goes down and gets a bucket. Providence cuts a little bit. They get stopped. Bonnies go down, get a bucket. So it just seemed like the clutch ability, the big defensive stand, that huge defensive rebound by Jones, by the way, 67-61. I mean, if that 3 drops by Joseph, maybe Providence turns the tide big time right there. Instead, Council Jr. comes down and makes that big layup. So there were a lot of those moments in this game. But at 69-64, Brown gets the offensive rebound. He turns it over. Joseph makes a layup. Council Jr. actually missed a jumper, but then Barron missed the 3. A huge rebound by Council Jr. That's another thing with this team that I love. This team crashes the glass like a Bonaventure team. Forwards and guards, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". They are all at the rim. You see the ball go up, and it's like dudes are everywhere. Brown jerseys like an amoeba, and they're just getting the ball. And it's just such a huge thing to have all 5 of your guys most of the time going after the basketball. It's just wonderful to see that, because that's been a trademark in the Schmidt era as well. Made free throws in the end, clutch defensive stops, teamwork, and getting big rebounds at both ends. And, they did that again tonight. Council Jr. makes 2 huge free throws. Providence makes a jumper to make it a 3-point game. And then Moore misses the free throw, and you're like, oh my God. Then he makes a free throw. It's a 4-point game. Providence gets another bucket. It's a 2-point game. There's a foul on Jones, but then Providence misses a free throw. And this is the point in the game where, for the whole second half, where Bonner was just like, put up your dukes, rock fight, and yet we can be finesse. We can get big baskets when we need it. But watch us make a play. With all the missed free throws and all the missed opportunities to put Providence away when they were actually doing that, that you thought they were doing that with 8, 10, 12 minutes to go. Providence cuts it to 4-5. Oh, they're going to get a bet. Nope. And then Bonner the other way, 8-point lead, right? And it was that kind of, but then Providence did really close the gap. And then they cut it to 2 after the missed free throw. And Cardette Jr. gets the rebound, and he goes up, and he misses the layup, but it's chaos because Bonaventure made it chaotic. They all go up for the board. They have hands in the air. And from there, Bonaventure hangs on, man. And, it was just a tremendous, tremendous win. Brown makes the 2 free throws late. They missed a bunch of free throws, but those were huge. and they win it by 4 points. So I was just impressed with the resolve, with the grit, the second half, just overall big time plays by the entire starting five. And, you know, those last couple of minutes, there were just the unbelievable teamwork. And, you know, the fact that they can do things at the end of games like the Schmidt teams have. All these guys who come from all different places of the country with the transfer portal, NIL, all the BS going on, it looks like this team, they like to play with each other. And we don't know how the cookie crumbles with the NIL portal in college basketball. You don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know how guys are going to gel. You don't know if guys are going to like each other. You don't know if guys are going to handle the scoring. Let's say, you know, they come from a place where they're a number 1 and they go to another place and they're a number 3. Maybe they get there, they think it's going to be one thing and it's not. There's all sorts of balls in the air with this portal and NIL thing. But it appears as though there's a few things that have gelled for this Bana group. And you can see it on the floor late in games especially. And it's huge. It's huge. So 10-1, man. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. Great stage for the Bonnies. Awesome win. And let's see the way December plays out here. ML Sports Take. Thanks for watching this one, and appreciate everybody hanging in there with the voice. It's been just an unbelievable week. It's awfully hard when you talk for a living as well, and you're battling through this, but it's all brought to you by St. Bonaventure University's online Masters in Journalism. Log on today to sbujournalism.com. In under 2 years, you can get your grad degree in journalism. It's a great program, as we know. Become a Bonnie today at sbujournalism.com. We thank Stumble and Monkey Brewing Company and Welch and Company Jewelers as well. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.